Hi, and welcome back. This is Rob Thomas, your everything Microsoft Enterprise Cloud Architect. And today we're going to cover a very exciting topic I love, which is Microsoft virtual machines. Now, before we get started, I want to give a shout out to our sponsors, and that is the Enterprise Software Solution, the Software Dudes. I do highly recommend reaching out to these companies as you make your Azure, Microsoft 365, Copilot, Windows Server, SQL Server, SharePoint, and Power BI purchases. These guys are great. They work with some great. They have a great clientele base, and I work with them, so I highly recommend them. All right, so let's jump into Microsoft virtual machines. And before we get started, whether you're new to VMs or just looking to sharpen your knowledge, today what I'm going to cover, understanding virtual machines, is just making it a very easy way to really understand what a VM is. So let's jump in. All right. Now, this is the site that you can go to, which is really good. This is a really good reference site. You'll go to your azure.com, azure.microsoft.com, and you're going to look up the Explore Azure Virtual Machines and Cloud with your Azure account. Now, in a video, I'm going to show you pretty much how to get your 12 months for free. You just put your credit card in, and you'll get like $200 in free credits, and then you just start playing around with like spinning up some virtual machines, some VM boxes. As we get to VMs, I do love to. I really do like this slide because this is really getting into a little bit of the virtual, the VMs, the virtual machines that you're spinning up, and really with a virtual machine, you're spinning up basically, a Windows Server box, right? And before I jump and get the cart before the horse, I do want to explain what a virtual machine is. So, what exactly is a VM? Imagine having multiple computers running on a single device, right? That's what makes that's what a VM does. It creates a virtual environment where you can install different operating systems and applications without needing separate hardware. Now, this means more flexibility, fewer compatibility issues, and a more efficient way to run software. So that's pretty much the breakdown of a virtual machine, right? So software-based simulation of a computing device, virtual environment, install operating systems on the application, and then running programs without compatibility issues. That's a virtual machine. So you can see this is an on-premise. So you most likely, I showed you here and explained a server. So you have these servers and you have them on-prem, right? But the on-prem is managed by Microsoft. So all these servers is managed by Microsoft, and then they just give you an environment, maybe like 2 or 3 of these rack servers, and you can just start spinning up your VMs in that environment that they give you. And so that comes into the question of, because when you see this, the complexity of like how hard it is to build this like in your garage or rent space and build this infrastructure, it brings you to the next questions. What's the benefit of a VM, right? So, and why use virtual machines? And here are the top 4 benefits. Cost savings, like no need to buy physical computers or software licenses or anything like that. You just go into Azure and then you're able to spin up a VM, and you pay for compute, right? So every time that VM actually runs, it generates computing cost, and then that will go against your $200 free credit, right? Now, once you consume your $200 free credit, then you'll start getting charged. All right, now security. Each VM operates in its own isolated environment, and this prevents hacking. So, cybersecurity threats that are spreading across the internet, and someone wants to hack your environment. This is really it helps and enhance. You're able to turn on more security features and make this run more efficiently. Now, and efficiency. I'm glad I touched on that. It runs different programs at the same time without system conflicts. So now you can have more efficient infrastructure, and then scalability. You're quickly adjusting computing power based on your business needs. Now, this is pretty powerful, the benefits of getting a virtual machine. And there's just a lot more benefits of just like spinning up your own VM and getting this thing to work and getting things to move forward. Now let's talk about the Azure virtual machines itself. Now, if you don't want to manage your hardware or manually set up a VM, Microsoft Azure offers a simple solution. You can deploy a pre-configured virtual machine instantly That makes that a little bit easy. No upfront cost. You can only pay for what you use, right? So you don't have to pay for the hardware, you don't have to pay for the wires, you don't have to pay for the colo, you don't have to pay for any of that. You just pay for what you use, the compute side, right? No more computing power, just scale up or down. So if I need to introduce like more servers, more space, I can do that. And then Azure makes this fast, efficient, and hassle-free for businesses to run their application. So that's the some more insight into Azure VMs. Now let's talk about availability zones, right? So Azure virtual machines run in availability zones, and this is how it works. Like each region, like Western the US or Western Europe, each region has its multiple availability zones. And these zones are dedicated hardware, but are shared across multiple customers. So this setup ensures high availability. It means if one zone has an issue, the other can take over, and it keeps your service up and running, right? So one availability zone is going to be like Virginia, another one's going to be San Francisco, right? So if I have my server set up in San Francisco and I'm running my business in San Francisco, it's easier for us to call the server farm in San Francisco versus calling a server farm in Virginia, which is on the East Coast. So that just gives you an idea of being more efficient about setting up your availability zones where your software is going to be running. So how is your organization? I want to ask this question, like, how is your organization using virtual machines? Are you taking full advantage of the cost savings, security, and flexibility? Now, I want you to think about this, right? And respond in the comments below. How do you foresee yourself using virtual machines? All right. Now, if you found this video to be helpful, give it a like and subscribe. Give it a 2 thumbs up for more tech insight. Let's keep learning together. See you in the next one.